And now, live from Level 5 Productions on the island of Milleronia, it's The Larry Miller Show. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all the ships at sea, and everyone who's ever done something stupid on Thanksgiving. Hi, folks, and welcome back to the Larry Miller Show. I'm Larry Miller, but in a way, aren't we all? And boy, oh boy, is it a beautiful day here. And, well, we're on Milleronia, and this island never ceases to please me, to make me happy, to thrill me. And boy, oh boy, I'm glad here. And Colonel Jeff, of course, is with me. And his 3 helicopter trips that it takes to get here. Never mind why. But boy, we're happy here. And you know what, folks? Welcome back. There's so much to talk about. And one of the things that, as you know, makes me happy, that was the Bobby Dorr Orchestra and the Treat Williams Dancers, featuring boy tenor Mike Lucking, asking the musical question, if a man works all his life packaging pig pens, but keeps his heart, soul, mind, and deeds pure, is he not then truly just an innocent stybander? That's right. You heard right. An innocent stybander. Mike, that's well, it's a terrific musical question. And, yes, a little puzzling right off the bat, but, in fact, Colonel Jeff and I had to put on a fresh pot of coffee just to understand that one. But Mike, you win. In fact, we wind up agreeing because it's too much work to fight. But better than that, it's terrific. And what it means, folks, by the way, in case you didn't have a fresh pot of coffee handy, if a man works all his life, well, packaging pig pens, not a job you hear about a lot, but packaging pig pens, but he keeps his heart, soul, mind, and deeds pure, is he not then truly just an innocent stybander, as opposed to an innocent bystander, which we've all heard. I'm not even sure what an innocent bystander is. Well, he's standing by. He just happened to be standing there when the truck jumped up on that sidewalk or whatever the heck happened. But an innocent stybander, because sties are what pig pens are. They're pig sties. See, and they need, well, to be packaged, well, efficiently and safely. And so they need bands around them. And not musical bands, metal bands to hold all the goods in that crate together. And, well, someone who puts those bands around the sties could be called a stybander. Good work, though, Mike. No kidding. That was a heck of an effort. And it works. Well done, Mike. And, by the way, the great Bobby Dorr just passed away. He was the oldest living Major League Baseball player. And, well, he just passed away. He was born in 1918. He was a 9-time All-Star, played his whole career with the Red Sox, batted over 300 3 times. He had more than 100 RBIs 6 times. And he set several statistical records for the Red Sox, that even though he missed a season due to military service during World War II. And that's awfully good to hear. That was, by the way, sent in by LMDS All-Star Edward Starkman. That's, of course, the Larry Miller Drinking Society. And you can join whenever you want. Just ask us. But God bless you, Bobby. That's a heck of a thing. Born in 1918 and was the oldest living Major League Baseball player. And I wish you well, and so does Colonel Jeff, on your next team. There are a lot of great Red Sox up in heaven there with you. And we wish you well. Well done, Edward. And by PayPal. So, of course, PayPal, speaking of getting in touch with us, is also available on our website. That's LarryMillerPodcast.com. Who's on the mountain? Tom Mix. That one got me. I think that's very funny. Good work, Colonel. You know what? Do that. What you do is go to PayPal. If you enjoy, well, the show, and why wouldn't you? And you'd like to send us a few bucks to help out, and why wouldn't you? Do it through PayPal. And I prefer that, instead of using words like, well, donate this or pay what you like or join the Platinum Club. I always like to say, buy us some drinks, because there are different levels 1 through 5, all the way up to...
We're driving to Florida!
I love that guy. So look for the PayPal banner on our website. That's the way to do it. You could go all sorts of different ways on your laptop, on your iPhone. It doesn't matter. What you do is go to our website, and we have a special banner there that says PayPal. And so go with us. What you do is go to our website. Once again, Larry Miller website. No, Larry Miller Podcast. I haven't said that enough, so I keep forgetting it. It's only been 8,000 times. LarryMillerPodcast.com. Who's on the mountain? Tom Mix. Boy, that was a great home run sound. I'll bet you that was one of Bobby Doerr's. Boy, oh boy. So we thank you, folks, because every little bit helps us keep the old leg lamp lit. And thank you to everyone who's contributed already. And thank you to everyone who's just about to, because they thought it was so terrific an idea. And that brings me to my favorite part of the show, the joke of the week. Yeah, this is a good one, too, that the Colonel and I both liked this one. A local elementary school in Louisville, Kentucky, has something they want to take their kids to, the third, fourth, and fifth graders. And it's, as I said, it's in Louisville, Kentucky, and they wanted to teach the kids about horse racing. They wanted to teach the kids about a lot of the traditions, a lot of the history of, for goodness sake, at Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky, there's not much more information and not much more art there for horse racing. So they do. They get a big yellow school bus, the way we all used to take our field trips, and they take all the third, fourth, and fifth graders, to Churchill Downs, and it's a wonderful time. The kids have a great time. They learn so much, and they saw everybody there involved with horse racing. And, after about just an hour or two, one of the kids says to his teacher, he says, excuse me, ma'am, I just, some of the other kids and me want to go to the bathroom. And she says, oh, of course. And then she takes, they decide to split up. So someone takes the girls to the girls' room, and she takes the boys to the boys' room. And she's standing outside there. And after just a minute or two, the same little boy just sticks his head out the door and says, I'm sorry, ma'am, but we can't reach the toilets there. They're a little too high for us. And she says, well, all right, we can get around that. And she opens the door and sticks her head in, and it's empty. It's just all the kids, all the boys. And she goes in, and, this is a good teacher. She's smart. She picks up one of the boys and just holds him up over the urinal there, and he goes to the bathroom. And that's fine. And she puts him down and he goes to wash up. And then she picks another boy up. And she just keeps doing that and, picks up a boy and he pees. And then she picks up another boy and he pees. And then she picks up another boy. And as she's picking him up, he's a little heavier. And she just notices, she glances around and he's, a little more of grown up in a little more grown up areas. And she says, I'm sorry, you must be in the 5th grade. And he says, no, ma'am, I'm riding Silver Arrow in the 7th race, but I appreciate your help. Now, that's a pretty good joke. And it's a little tongue twister. If I told you how many times I just had to try taping that was about 11 times, wasn't it? Couldn't get around. I kept saying things like, I was a Silver Arrow in the 7th race. I just couldn't get it out. But that's a good joke, and it was sent in by LMDS member Biff LaTourette. And we're proud of him in all sorts of ways. But that's a heck of a joke. Pretty darn good joke. Thanks, Biff. And that's the great thing, once again, about jokes. Well, it sounds like a real moment in life. It sounds like a story out of life. And, it was out of life, and she just happened to, remember, they were Churchill Downs. She just happened to, along with the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade boys, she picked up a jockey. And I think that's a good one. Thanks, Biff. And that brings me to my second favorite part of the show, the Poetry Corner. Yeah, that's pretty, too. Bet you wouldn't have to lift up any of those quartet players to pee. Although you never know. You never know. This is a great poem, folks, by John Keats. What a fella. He was lived from 1795 to 1821 in England. He was an English romantic poet, the great Keats. He was one of the key figures in the second generation of romantic poets, and like many poets, his poems were not well received, but at the end of the 19th century, by then he'd become one of the most beloved English poets in history. And he sure did the work to deserve that. This is called A Song About Myself. There was a naughty boy was he would not stop at home, he could not quiet be. He took in his knapsack a book full of vowels and a shirt with some towels, a slight cap for nightcap and a hairbrush, comb, ditto. New stockings for old ones would split. Oh, this knapsack tight at's back he riveted close and followed his nose to the north, and followed his nose to the north. There was a naughty boy, and a naughty boy was he, and nothing would he do but scribble poetry. He took an inkstand in his hand, and a pen big as 10 in the other, and away in a pother he ran to the mountains and fountains and ghosts and posts and witches and ditches, and wrote in his coat when the weather was cool, fear of gout, and without when the weather was warm, the charm when we choose to follow one's nose to the north, to follow one's nose to the north. There was a naughty boy, and a naughty boy was he. He kept little fishes in washing tubs 3, in spite of the might of the maid, nor afraid of his granny good. He often would hurly-burly get up early and go by hook or crook to the brook, and bring home miller's thumb, tittlebat, not over fat, minnows small as the stall of a glove, not above the size of a nice little baby's little fingers, Oh, he made, 'twas his trade, of fish a pretty kettle, a kettle, a kettle, of fish a pretty kettle, a kettle. There was a naughty boy, and a naughty boy was he. He ran away to Scotland, the people for to see. There he found that the ground was as hard, that a yard was as long, that a song was as merry, that a cherry was as red, that lead was as weighty, that fourscore was as 80, that a door was as wooden as in England. So he stood in his shoes, and he wondered, he stood in his shoes, and he wondered. Isn't that nice? What a great use of words, and a good title for it, too. A Song About Myself by the great John Keats. We liked it here, and as always, well, I hope you liked it where you are. And that brings me to my third favorite part of the show, the magic movie moment. Oh boy, and this is a good one too, folks. This is a great movie. It's called Dial M for Murder, directed by the great Alfred Hitchcock. And what a cast, starring Ray Milland, Grace Kelly, Robert Cummings, and so many great English actors and actresses. It's shot in England. It takes place in England. But boy, right there, Grace Kelly, Ray Milland, Robert Cummings. It's a wonderful movie. If you haven't seen it, please do. And what a plot, and what a twisting plot. And there's someone is thinking of murdering someone else and thinking of hiring someone to do it. And we watch and we watch. It's beautiful. And the magic movie moment was obvious for me on this one because, as great as Hitchcock is, folks, that virtually the whole film is shot in their apartment, in the married couple of, Ray Milland and Grace Kelly. The whole film, and I don't mean the bedroom, I don't mean a kitchen, it's like a play. It's as if you just went to theater. The whole movie, got to be 98% of it, is shot in that one room in their living room. And so many different places to go. Oh, folks, and with this movie that has so much tension and so many plots and so many twists, it's wonderful. It's worth it. Anything with Alfred Hitchcock's name on it is wonderful and worth it. I hope you know that. Oh, I really do. And you know what? Please see this one, Dial M for Murder. It was made in 1954, and wow, is it worth everything people think of it. Please do, and please let us know when you do. Because you know what? There's nothing I love. Well, I'm in show business, and as you know, and I love acting, I love writing, and I love stand-up comedy. And I love doing this show for you with Colonel Jeff. And, it's extra special great to do it on Milleronia. Of course, we're back on the mainland a lot, as you know. But I love making movies, thinking about movies. And I'm in the middle of one now. I got a good part in a movie called Second Act. I mentioned this, directed by Pete Siegel, who's great. I've worked for him several other times. He's a great director. And, brother, starring Jennifer Lopez and so many, John Lovitz, Leah Remini, and, yes, as I mentioned briefly before, and I had a chance to dance with Treat Williams. You know, the usual stuff in movie making. We did that the other night in New York, and they had several nights that were shot. Well, they had turned the schedule, so they were night shoots, meaning we shoot all night. And so you get there, instead of 6 in the morning, you get there at 3:30 in the afternoon, and you get ready and you get all the makeup on and all your hair done. Yes, hair. I know I have no hair, but you get it done. And, and it was shot at the Rainbow Room, atop 30 Rockefeller Center. What a beautiful room. The Rainbow Room, windows on all four sides at the top there. Whew. Top of Rockefeller Center. It's just unbelievable. My wife and I, in fact, went there for one of our anniversaries a few years ago. And, it's an interesting thing, though. I'm sure you know this, but as cool and elegant and romantic and traditional as that place is, well, at night when we went there and it had really elegant dining and a beautiful dance floor with a dance band and an orchestra there, and you could dance the night away. It was wonderful. And then they hired, I think it was Tommy Toon, who did a dance routine there with a famous a woman who was in choruses a lot. Oh, that was terrific, though. You're sitting there. I always wondered how that worked in show business. And you've danced, and you've had a couple of drinks, and you've had a nice dinner, and then on they come. No one else is dancing to this, and they'd put on a show. And they had several background dancers too. And you think to yourself, holy mackerel, look at us. This is quite a place. But the point is, then when you go there to work, which is wonderful, I'm glad we did. But as you know, no matter how fancy a place is, when you go there on a fancy night, when you're working there, well, it's just a place. That there's an old saying, once you can see the seams in the carpeting, then you're there at the wrong time. But that's fine. It's just very interesting to know. How do you like that? Look at those glasses stacked up, just stacked. And, of course, they have cameras and the whole crew and setting up lights and everything and all the actors and actresses, everybody. And Pete Siegel and all the producers were there and the writers. Oh, boy. It was great. And you know what? At one point, Jennifer Lopez, who you must know is a heck of a dancer herself, at one point in the plot of the movie, she's on the dance floor and there's some background people dancing there. And I'm there and I play, a romantic lead. Okay, it's mostly a bad guy. But you know what? I'm standing there and she, to cover something else up in the plot, she kind of jams her purse into this other woman's belly that we're talking with. So it's me and Treat Williams, and she grabs the other actor, this young fella, off and just whisks him away in a huge dance routine. They go to a heck of a thing. And in movies, and the director said to me, if you think of something right then, just say it and we'll see how it goes. And that's nice to be trusted that way. So I'm standing there with Treat Williams and this other actress, and Jennifer whisks this guy away off camera. She twirls him and takes a big dance step, and it really looks like, whoa, something terrific. And as they just whisk themselves off camera, I just say to Treat, only guys do that to me. Why would that? Why is it? It's always just guys. And I just ad-libbed that, and then Treat Williams is a great guy. He's a great actor. I first saw him in Prince of the City, I remember. And you know what? He said to me, "Oh, that's terrible." Only guys do that to me, and he kind of, like pinches my cheek or pats the cheek and just says, "Oh well." And I looked at him, and I have a drink in one hand because it's a big night in a nightclub in the movie, and I look. We're only about a foot away from each other, and just on a chance, we hooked our hands up like we're going to dance, looked at each other, why not? And then just turned our heads at the same time, and that way you all know of, you tip your head back and turn it away with a smile, and off we go. We go off camera now. And we're dancing together. It was wonderful. You know what? And that plus, who knows? They may just put it in. I'm going back there on another trip in a couple of weeks to do more work. I have 2 more. It's wonderful to be, hey, where are you going? Where am I going? Well, I'm working in a movie. And, it's terrific. And, and it's so funny, too, because Colonel Jeff had just said that, come on, that Jennifer Lopez, and she's going out with Alex Rodriguez. I'm a big Yankee fan anyway, and I'm a big fan of his. And for crying out loud, he came to the set, by the way, because it's the Rainbow Room. It's on 51st Street, and they have on one corner their Victoria's Secret. And I thought I would go in there because they keep calling. Then I don't want them to feel that I'm just, giving them the high hat. Isn't that the old saying? Oh yeah, because it would be like a society couple, the high hat, which was a high hat, like Lincoln, right? And anyway, so he Alex Rodriguez, I can't believe, and so he came there to see, for goodness sake, to see Jennifer and to go up there into the Rainbow Room and say hi to, Pete and these folks. Come on, I mean, that's wow. And the other thing on the block there is the New York Yankees Steakhouse, called the Yankees Steakhouse, with the Yankee logo on it. It's on the same block. It's right there. Well, I'm sorry, folks. I don't know if I don't know who your team is, who you root for, but if that's not enough for you to go to that restaurant, I don't know what would be. I didn't have time to do that. We were working nights there, but come on. And Alex Rodriguez comes to the set and says hello to his wife. Then he goes back down into her trailer and kisses her goodbye. And then he goes out and he goes to the Yankee Steakhouse. Why wouldn't he? I mean, who else is, for goodness sake, who else is better to go there? And so this is pretty cool. And they are, and Colonel Jeff and I started thinking, wow, that is a real New York couple. I mean, come on. That, can you imagine that, folks? I mean, Jennifer Lopez and Alex Rodriguez together on the movie set that she's starring in. I mean, that's when the Colonel said, the only more New Yorkie couple you could possibly have would be King Kong and the Statue of Liberty. I mean, you can't beat that. You can't beat them there. Boy, it was wonderful. And I'm going back. I don't think we'll be at the Rainbow Room again. But maybe, you never know, maybe if I have a night off, I might just go to the Yankee Steakhouse. It was on 51st Street. And for dessert, Victoria's Secret. Why not? Boy, folks. You never know, though, because, and what a great holiday coming up. For goodness sake, with Thanksgiving, one of my sons is coming home, and, of course, we'll be back on the mainland, and to pick him up, and he's in college in Colorado there. Oh, boy, we're looking forward to seeing him so much, and he's looking forward to coming home, and we're really happy, and so is he. And, you know what? Our other son, who I think I've mentioned, is a Marine, and he's deployed on active duty. And so, we're not going to see him because, and let's be honest, that makes sense. I mean, once you're an active duty Marine and you're in harm's way, you're in a war zone, for goodness sake, you can't just say at that point, look, Colonel, that battle plan sounds fine to me, but you know what? I might just hop on a plane and go back to the States for Thanksgiving. I might just do that instead. And because I always make the stuffing, I think my mom and dad and Uncle Lou and my sister and the twins will be there, But don't worry, sir. I'll keep in touch and be back in action right after the holiday. And plus, I'll grab some leftovers and take them with me and bring them back for the whole company. Because that's how we make a Thanksgiving, by the way, if you wonder if it's big enough. But you know what? There's nothing like, I'll talk more about it next week after, you know what? After your and my and the Colonel's Thanksgivings. It's a wonderful holiday, and it is great for the right family group, for the right meal, for the right prayers, for the right everything. And, in fact, I read one description of it, and they didn't even mention, drinking and football, which I think is the core of the holiday. I don't know about you, but sure, it's nice to say, with wonderful cranberry sauce and the right prayer and getting together and with the family and with love. And, I'm looking and say, football. Where's the football? They don't mention football. And they don't say that, hey, everybody's there and it's your house anyway. So doesn't matter if you have a couple. And by a couple of drinks, I don't mean 30. No, not that. Just 25 is fine. 25 mixed drinks that you make yourself. But you know what? As far as it goes, I wish you all a great Thanksgiving, and we'll talk about it more next week, because we just passed also over this last weekend a great holiday, a very important holiday, Veterans Day. And that's how it's spelled, by the way, veterans with an S. There's no apostrophes there. It doesn't belong to the veterans. It's about the veterans. The holiday was originally called Armistice Day, which marked the end of World War I. And that was in 1918, and it was always on November 11th. And, there's a beautiful reason to have it done on that day, because when they were looking for an exact time to start the armistice, to start the end of the war, it was chosen, and because it was described in a way that always moves me, the 11th minute of the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. And they did it that way, and it was always Armistice Day. And then after World War II, a battle veteran, an American soldier named Weeks, asked to meet with General Eisenhower, at that point, this is in 1948, to tell him this idea. He had an idea. And the general met with him, and this soldier, thought that Armistice Day was wonderful, but suggested changing it to Veterans Day in honor of all who served. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, everyone. And, the Colonel and I feel the same way. That's a great idea. And it is better. At that point in 1948, it was, 30 years since the end of World War I. It might have been a good time to include more folks. But I will always think of it as Armistice Day. I will always think of it as the 11th minute of the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. And what a great holiday, Veterans Day. I hope you think of it, about those in your family who have served and are serving. I looked up a few things about it, by the way. There are currently 83 national restaurants and chains that give veterans and active duty service members a free meal on Veterans Day. Now, anything that, it's a free meal, that makes me feel good. I hope it does for you too. And I looked them up, a lot of these restaurants, and they're national chains. And, frankly, it kind of shocked me a little. A lot of them don't give a free meal so to speak. They don't say, and here's a free meal. A lot of them give a free appetizer and 10% of the main course off. So if you get a salad and a burger, the salad is free and the burger is 10% off, which, to be honest, and that's why I didn't want to mention any names and embarrass some of these restaurants, you kind of want to say, come on. I mean, you can't give them a free meal? What they've done not good enough for a free meal? I don't get it. Yeah, my son who's deployed now, and there are people who die. It's a war. It's not enough. You gotta say no. We'll give you some cranberry sauce, but no turkey. All right. I'm not sure I get that, but. Is it because, why would that be even? I don't know. You want to say to some of the boards there, or, because they have to make this decision, that there had to be meetings of the boards, of the directors, of the executives of each, and these are chains, and that's what you came up with? Well, we'll give them the appetizer and 10% off the main course. Really? It's not enough? Because if they come home from deployment, you can't give them a cheeseburger? Is that too much? Well, I guess it is, frankly. So I would say to the good folks who had that good idea to give a free meal to all the older veterans, and all active duty service members. You know what? That's a great idea. Give them the cheeseburger. What do you say? Come on. It's, you know what, whatever they want. Well, as long as it's not ribs, why not? Okay, because this isn't a French restaurant. It's a place where kids go after Little League. Come on. Let their older brothers be there in uniform and have people smile at them and stand and applaud and give them the cheeseburger. Okay? If you don't mind my saying, it's a wonderful idea. Finish it off. But that's what great holidays are about, folks. Veterans Day and Thanksgiving, wow, in the same period of time, it's a great idea. And I hope it will be for you, too, with Thanksgiving coming up. I know that it will be for me and for the Colonel and my family. But I know lots of things about you. Homer is Homer, and Pluto is a planet. And so, remember, folks, as always, if you walked out of bed today and had a job to go to and a home to come back to and someone there who cares about you, folks, the game's over and you've won, no matter who's paying for the food. Be well, and we'll see you here next time.